You are now listening to Tuff Tiger Talk Flash Report.
What's up, Tough Tiger Nation? You're now rocking with Tough Tiger Talk on the PRO Media Network. Much love to the LSU Fighting Tiger Nation. Much love to you, fam. Appreciate y'all for joining me for this installment of Tough Tiger Talk. We are in the building as this one's entitled LSU Signs All Big 12 Cornerback Jarrick Bernard-Converse and more Tough Tiger Talk updates. So before you get started, please feel free to hit the like button. Please subscribe to the Tough Tiger Talk Nation platform. Feel free to share the links on your social media feed with other Tough Tiger Talk family members and like the stream. Much love to the fam. Appreciate y'all. I'd like to give a special shout out to all of the family members, the newest family to subscribe to Tough Tiger Talk. I appreciate all the great commentary that you guys are giving as well. Appreciate the interaction. Much love to you. And I'm going to just keep going hard in the paint for the fam. So thank y'all as we get going in this installment. First article to talk about is LSU signs all Big 12 transfer cornerback Jarrick Bernard-Converse from Oklahoma State. Now, what's really good about this story is the fact that, fam, y'all know we were ate up by a lot of things going on with the secondary for LSU. And this time around, getting some players in here that can help us is a big, big plus. So let's get into this article provided by The Athletic. As LSU announced Wednesday, it has added Oklahoma State transfer defensive back Jarrick Bernard-Converse, who started 47 consecutive games in 4 seasons for the Cowboys. He's 6'1", 200 pounds. That's a wealth of experience. He was first team all Big 12 and tied for conference lead with 11 pass breakups this past season. Now, Converse was ranked 7th in the Athletics ranking, the top available transfers. He'll finish his college career closer to home at LSU. He's from Shreveport. He's a 3-star recruit in the class of 2018, and Converse recorded 195 tackles, 2 interceptions, 7 tackles for a loss in his 4 seasons with at Stillwater and LSU. Remember, we lost Eli Ricks to Alabama, Dwight McGothern to Arkansas, and the addition to early departures with Derek Stingley and Cordell Flott. But Converse is the third cornerback to transfer to the Tigers as Coach Brian Kelly continues to kind of stock the cupboards defensive back wise, knowing and realizing that, hey, man, we're going to need some help back there, man. So you see Coach Kelly it's gotten it. That was a pretty good signing by LSU, to be honest with you, man. Like I said, a lot of stuff going on, but good to see us finally get a couple of these guys in here. And more recruit news as we keep the ball rolling. Let's talk more recruit news. Let me get this on screen with the fam right quick. And the 5-star defender Jaden Wayne as LSU among the top teams on his list. This is coming straight from LSU Wire. The Tigers among the top schools for the number 10th rated player in the 2023 class. So that's good news right there for LSU, as well as Jaden Wayne of Tacoma has released his top schools for recruitment. The Tigers were among the list. You can find the usual suspects in the SEC: Alabama, Auburn, Florida, the champion, national champion, Georgia's club, future SEC team, Texas will all be present as well. Currently, Wayne ranks as the number 1 player in the state of Washington and a top 3 player at his position. He's listed as a defensive lineman, but based on his size, Wayne might project best at strong side defensive end for LSU unless he adds some weight to his frame, playing on the interior defensive line wouldn't be a productive for him. Now LSU is in a good spot with several defensive linemen, and they can thank a new defensive line coach, Jamar Cain, who's here. His reputation to develop an NFL talent speaks for itself. Now, Wayne is also looking at his hometown team, or home state team, the Washington Huskies. They're joined by Oregon and USC of the Pac-12 on the list. So a lot going on there. 6'5", 245. LSU is on the list, as you can see right here, among other teams. So as long as we have an opportunity to talk to the man, but y'all know, just like I know, that the best way to recruit talent to your program is to win, and the Tigers just simply have to get back to those winning ways. So, man, let me tell you, we just got to keep that ball rolling. And just to talk to the family members about what Brian Kelly has been doing, he's actually been doing a pretty damn good job of reaching out and recruiting, getting transfers in, knowing where he needs to go. The staff is assembled, and he just keeps moving in the right direction. Let's go on to this one, which is a really nice story in itself. Is that Harold Perkins, a decommits from Texas A&M, and he's visiting LSU as we speak. This is currently being recorded at 3:44 p.m. Central Time, and Harold Perkins is currently visiting LSU right now. So hopefully we can get Perkins in here. He's a good defender. It can help out. The biggest news of the day ahead of the final signing period is LSU's targeting Harold Perkins, who decommitted from Texas A&M. Tigers have remained in contact with the number 4th player in the country and number 1 linebacker. Perkins is set to visit LSU. He's visiting right now, according to 247 Sports. And having him here and adding him to the team will be big. But LSU added 1 linebacker, which is Demario Tolan, in the 2022 cycle. Now, Perkins had LSU among his final 3 schools with Texas and Texas A&M before committing to the Aggies. He recently had visits with Florida, but now the Tiger staff would take aim at the top linebacker of the class once again. Now, LSU's recruiting class is ranked number 20, with just 1 5-star signee, Campbell. Others have it ranked higher. The team is waiting the decision of another Under Armour All-American safety, Jacoby Matthews, who's also here. Both Matthews and Perkins are 5-star prospects, and both have the eye on new Florida head coach Billy Napier, who's a Louisiana coach who came out of Louisiana. Was it Louisiana Lafayette to get there? It's quite possible, but both could end up at the same school. The Gators and Tigers are battling for both these talented defenders. It remains to be seen if Coach Kelly and company can reel in Perkins, but they will have their opportunity this weekend. Like I said, both of these players are currently right now being on campus and being talked to by the LSU staff, and that is another big thing that we have to hit. As you know, that signing day is fastly approaching, and we have to be able to cover this thing and make sure we get as much as we can get going into the upcoming season. Coming from Gold 24/7 Sports, previewing LSU's final official visitors weekend. When it comes to the official visitor lists on the final weekend before Wednesday's National Signing Day, LSU, and we'll have a report on that too, LSU is as impressive as any in the country, one of the top 5 uncommitted prospects, according to 247 or 224/7 Sports composite rankings. 2 of them, which is Jacoby Matthews, we just spoke about, and Harold Perkins, will be on LSU campus. They're there right now. The Tigers will host 4 prospects between Friday and Sunday, which can go a long way towards determining how the dominoes fall for the rest of the way, with LSU 7 scholarship spots still remaining in that 2022 class. LSU hosted 4-star running back Trevante Citizen. Boy, he would be a big pickup if we can land him this past weekend. And the staff brought in Louisiana tight end Danny Lewis for a midweek visit on Wednesday and Thursday, and that went well. Now the focus turns to the 4 other prospects still on the board, who both have an offer from the Tigers and are being courted by the new LSU staff. The rundown: Jacoby Matthews, the safety from Ponchatoula High. The highest ranked uncommitted prospect in Louisiana is Matthews, and when he reveals his college decision next week, he will have hats on the table for LSU, Texas A&M, and Florida. His official visit to College Station happened back in June, and Matthews took an official visit to Gainesville this past weekend before wrapping things up in Baton Rouge this weekend. So for one-time LSU commitment, it's giving the Tigers the final crack as he spends the weekend with the new staff for the first time. LSU coaches Brian Kelly, Frank Wilson, and Kerry Cooks followed up an in-home visit with Jimbo Fisher and company, one of their own Wednesday. And on Friday, Matthews arrives for his 3-day stay. So hopefully we can land. He's one of the top prospects out right there. He would definitely help the secondary for the Fighting Tigers. Now, we talked about Harold Perkins, the linebacker who made a splash when he committed to Texas A&M earlier this month, then made it even bigger waves when he backed off the players this week. Now, Perkins canceled an official visit to Miami and replaced it with LSU. And Perkins, like Matthews, seemingly down to LSU, Florida, and Texas A&M. And like I said, both of them, if you can get one, the chances are, and this is the word on the street, that you can get both, which would be a big plus for LSU's defense. But Perkins is a big chip to fall if Coach Kelly and staff can make this happen. So let's keep it going. And also Caleb Douglas, a wide receiver from Hightower High, which is in Texas. Douglas played quarterback as a junior before moving to wide receiver to help alleviate depth concerns for Hightower after staying put at receiver as senior. Douglas finished the year with 51 catches for almost 1,000 yards. He had 8 touchdowns. Pretty good. 6'3", the Texas native is one of the more intriguing uncommitted wideouts in the country, and LSU's new staff has put themselves squarely in the mix to pull off a late snag. After being hired as LSU's wide receivers coach, Cortez Hankton quickly made moves to get Douglas. Then he visited him this past weekend on Tuesday in Hankton, and head coach Brian Kelly made an in-home visit with Douglas, and now he's set to spend Friday and Sunday on LSU's campus. So, like we saying, with the day coming up, that day, National Signing Day coming up, it'll be really intriguing to see exactly what some of these guys we can get, man, to be honest with you, because it'll be pretty awesome to land some of these guys on the team, to be honest, especially help at wide receiver position, help also at the defensive back position, having the safeties and the cornerbacks as we get transfers to kind of fill in some of the players that's going out. All right, let's move it on. Jalen Davis Robinson, another defensive back from Texas. LSU only returns 2 scholarship cornerbacks for the 21 roster, and while the new staff has added 2 cornerbacks and a nickel through the transfer portal, the staff knows they have to stock up on young cornerbacks to develop for the future. Now, LSU signed cornerback LaTerrence Welch and cornerback safety Jordan Allen in December, but the scholarship offer this week to Davis Robinson shouldn't catch anyone off guard. The Tigers need to build the cornerback room back up from nearly scratch. Now, Davis Robinson is one of the top uncommitted cornerbacks still available. The Texas native is impressed with speed, and listen, like I said, man, we knew coming into this season that the secondary would be one of the biggest rooms that we had to stockpile. Davis Robinson didn't pick up a Power 5 scholarship offer until late December, but he's since added 6, including a big one from the Tigers. He's coming off an official visit to Oregon, but LSU's getting the final trip, and Davis Robinson is firmly in play for the Tigers on signing day next week. Remember, the big day, family, is Wednesday, and hopefully we can land some of these guys, man, to help keep the winning ways. We got Brian Kelly here, and to be honest with you, I'm very excited to see what Kelly doing based on his resume. I like the staff that he's assembled here, and I think it'll be awesome to just keep things going in that right direction. Also, let's get into this bit of news from Coach Kelly, as Brian Kelly appears in bizarre video dancing with, now, come on, we should be used to this by now, fam. He's done this before. The only thing I said was kind of phony baloney behind him was the fact that, he had the phony baloney thing behind Coach Kelly was the accent thing. He tried to do like a fake Hillary Clinton accent. But outside of that, man, he likes to get in there. He vogued or whatever it was. I don't know what the hell it was. He tried to vogue or do something. But anyway, man, you got to love Coach Kelly, man. It's kind of cringy. But at the same time, at least, he's showing a human side. He's not just an android. So, chill out. Give a little room. Anyway, let's keep it going, fam, as we keep moving on, man. Hey, to be honest with you, that was kind of cringy. But, hey, I mean, it's better than that fake Southern accent he did. Right. All right. Brian Kelly is set to check in on Newman's quarterback, Arch Manning, which a lot of people say if this can be the guy LSU can pull, boy, it'll elevate us in a major way in terms of the national perspective, the land Arch Manning. But let's get into it from the Tiger Wire. Patrick Kahn on the scoop. As of late, every top school seems to be checking on the nation's best quarterback, Arch Manning. It doesn't take long for LSU to do the same, as they have a shorter commute than everyone else. So we've seen Lane Kiffin, Nick Saban, Steve Sarkisian, and many others make the journey to Louisiana, check in on the state's top player. Brian Kelly is not getting ready to see the Manning family soon. Manning visited back in June, of course, and the Tigers have a different staff back then. So Manning has been a target of every school, but it seems Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Texas have all the momentum in front of it. It might be a little late in the process, but Kelly needs to get at least see where he is in the process. The Tigers are trying to figure out where they go at quarterback in 2023. Now, they recently offered Dante Moore and Nico Amaliva, the biggest issue with trying to figure out where Arch Manning is on schools is recruiting, is that he's kept things very quiet, and they had a lot of experience with that family to know exactly how to do that. Now, while Steve Wiltfong reports that Kelly will visit Manning, the team has a couple of other prospects on the team to check with. Now, Will Randall is the 2023 tight end. Brett Borderland is the 2025 offensive tackle, and Borderline's older brother both signed with LSU back in the 2022 class, this previous class here. So getting them and keeping them going. So now listen, fam, I don't know if it's even feasible that we have an opportunity to even land the likes of Arch Manning. I don't know. That's why LSU is kind of doing this due diligence, looking around to other prospects. And I'm not mad at them for that. But you never know, fam. You gotta do your homework, see where you're at in the process. And we know crazier things have happened. Let's keep it going. One analyst weighs pros and cons of Caleb Williams at LSU, which is an interesting story at LSU Wire, stopped by Patrick Kahn. Kelly has made his living in the transfer portal this offseason, thus adding a total of 12 players to the team through the portal, with 3 quarterbacks on the roster for 2022. Would he dare go after another one? The top-rated transfer available is Caleb Williams, the former Oklahoma quarterback that took over for a struggling Spencer Rattler in 2021 after Lincoln Riley bolted for USC. It seems like Williams was destined to follow. When he entered the portal, everyone expected an announcement would come sooner or later. While speculation continues to run rapid, Williams still has yet to make a decision. Would he come to Baton Rouge to play for the Tigers? Despite the fact one report from Dean Blevins has LSU in the running. It will be hard to fathom the top 21 signee coming to the Bayou with Walker Howard, Garrett Nussmeier, and Miles Brennan sitting in front of him. CBS Sports decided to dive into the portal landing spots for Williams due to one report. LSU was expected to be among the finalists for him. Now, Shahan and a few others weighed the pros and cons of what it is to bring him to the Bayou. So I don't think this might be, I don't know. I think that's a stretch to think about Williams coming to LSU. I think it's a big stretch. I don't think he'll come here as well, but it doesn't hurt them to take a peek at it and see what they can do with it. It's the same thing like we said about the coach dancing around or in the video and doing the Vogue or whatever he was doing. You got to do your due diligence. You got to check on it and see if it's something that could interest you or have a connection that you never know in college, fam. Report: LSU's coaching staff continues to add talent in the analyst personnel roles, and this just goes to show you how serious Kelly is about winning. He's making significant strides in hiring coaches who are well connected throughout the country, because this helps with the recruiting effort. This is coming from LSU country. Glenn West on the scoop. LSU on-field coaching staff may gain a lot of headlines, but the Tigers are still at work filling out the analysts and personnel staff for the program. This week, a little more light was shed on how Brian Kelly is filling up those roles by hiring Trent Miles, who's an offensive analyst, according to Football Scoop. Now, Miles has a history of working with offensive coordinator, guess who? Mike Denbrock, when the pair were in Stanford staff 20 years ago in 2021. Boy, how time flies. Since then, Miles has spent time as a head coach at Indiana State from 2007 to 2012, Georgia State from 2013 to 2016, and as an analyst with the Eagles. This move comes on the heels of Kelly finishing up his on-field coaching staff by bringing in the wide receivers and passing game coordinator, Mr. Cortez Hankton, which was a really good signing, by the way. What we see from Kelly and the moves he's making is more of a balanced approach to both the analyst and recruiting staff. And Kelly recently brought in Jordan Archman as a recruiter with knowledge and experience with the NIL deals, as well as Sherman Wilson, who is the director of recruiting at La Tech. So these are real smart guys that know specifically their own, rings or rooms. And this is just good so LSU can be hands in on whatever they need to be. LSU's coaching staff is littered with coaches who have a familiarity in Louisiana as well as other areas of the country. Another report from Football Scoop states the Tigers are close to hiring Corey Phillips, who was well respected in the ACC and SEC circles out of the Nashville area, to quote a high-end personnel position, end quote, within the program. Now, Phillips' impending addition to Kelly's first staff is seen by industry insiders as another major recruiting move for Coach Kelly, who's coaching in the South for the first time in his 3-decade-long career. So what does this mean? Pretty much is that these are very smart staff signings of guys that know what they do in their specific fields. By getting men who are well respected throughout the country and who have ties in their recruiting territories, that makes it just that easy for Coach Kelly to recruit these guys to LSU. This is a smart staff. Like I said, this is a real smart staff that Coach Kelly has brought together. Respected staff. Now, the next key thing after assembling all the talent we get through Wednesday signing day and getting all of the players to where we need them to be would be getting on the field and putting it all together and winning games consistently and being in the talk to win the SEC every year. It won't get any easier with the additions of Texas and Oklahoma coming soon. So still in all, I still like the signings that Coach Kelly is doing. So how about you? A lot of family members out there is looking at these players and it's just I just see a lot of momentum for LSU. And like I said, the last thing is left for them to start winning games after we get everybody on field. All right, and this is the final story. LSU updated its 2022 class rankings ahead of signing day. And of course, LSU has 25 additions and is still looking to add up 7 more players to the 2022 class. Brian Kelly and the staff have done a real good job of adding both high school signings and top transfers for the upcoming season. As the signing day approaches, we take a final look at the recruiting rankings for your Bayou Bengals. Now, this is coming from a 24/7 Sports weighs in on LSU's class. And this is what those guys are saying. As a part of the reason for LSU small class under first-year coach Brian Kelly is due to a dozen players signed out of the transfer portal. 4-star Will Campbell, who's the offensive tackle. Y'all know we need help there. Walker Howell was a good addition who at QB. Both are ranked in the top 50 overall for incoming freshmen for the 2022 cycle. And as you can see, what they're saying here is the on-3 rankings at 15. You see 24/7 has them at 18, ESPN 19, Rivals at 21. When you factor in the transfers to this class, it looks more like an impressive for Tigers and Brian Kelly. They have added almost as many transfers as high school signings. The team looks to be reloading rather than rebuilding the squad. Now, LSU still has a few moves that they're looking to make. Remember, Harold Perkins, Jacoby Matthews, those guys, and Caleb Douglas, those guys are on they're on the property or they're at LSU on the grounds now and for this weekend. So this will be a big recruiting push to lock in Perkins and lock in Matthews. Both guys we need. Also Caleb Douglas, the wide receiver. Danny Lewis is a guy that we did really good with. After adding 12 transfers, the team has 7 spots still available to be filled. They can look to add a couple more transfers during the spring. This will allow the staff to have a better evaluation of the team. So this is really good overall boil down of what's going on with LSU. So anyway, fam, listen, this is pretty good for the Tigers, man. Moving forward. And I think that's one of the big things that Tigers can do is keep doing what they're doing as Brian Kelly is working and he put his staff together. And I got to say, I just want to see what it all looks like in a respected coach that has a history of winning. Coming to LSU is just what we need here to just keep winning. Remember, not just winning one year and then 500 it out the next 2 years. No, but building on the winning culture. Like other successful teams have done, we need to continue to do that. We need to keep doing that. We need to keep rolling. But anyway, that'll do it for this episode of Tuff Tiger Talk. I thank all of the Tuff Tiger Talk family members, the LSU Fighting Tiger family members. Thank y'all for joining the stream, and I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace. Go Tigers.
Subscribe to the Tuff Tiger Talk.